music composer, we will meet someone who is widely considered one of the 19th century's greatest composers and one of the leading musicians of the Romantic era. We are excited to welcome Johannes Brahms. Hello there and welcome. We're so happy to talk to you today and understand more about your life.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a long time since I've been out on the about. Wow, all the latest dials have changed since the 1800s.
Let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us how and where you started?
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to share. I was born on May 7th, 1833, in Hamburg, Germany. I hear some of you know where Germany is on the map. I was second of my parents' three children. My parents were very, very poor, uh, but my father was an accomplished musician who could play just about any instrument he touched. I begged my father to teach me piano, but he was more comfortable with the stringed instruments. So he found one of the best teachers for me named Wilhelm Kossel. Oh, yeah, poor guy. I wanted to practice all the hours of the day and night, but he was very patient with me.
Wow, it sounds like you love your music. It sounds like it kept you busy. Do you have any t- Did you have time for anything else?
Yeah, well, in order to help out my family, sometimes I would make extra money playing dance music at the smoky taverns in Hamburg on Hamburg's waterfront. But many agreed that that was no place for the youth to be spending his time. It didn't bother me much because I was busy. I always brought my books along. I read adventure stories and poems, escaping into the stories to keep my mind off of my exhausting job, yeah?
But I hear that unlike some musicians of your era, you didn't primarily make money, or you didn't primarily make music for the money, but for the love of music itself. Can you tell us more?
Mm. While I was able to gather some wealth from my compositions, I continued to live a very simple life. In Vienna, Austria, I worked as a conductor, music teacher, and a composer. I liked walking in nature, and I brought candy with me to give to the children I passed on my box. I never wanted a fancy house. Nine, I wore cheap clothes and sometimes forgot to wear socks, yeah. I had too much music on my mind. Who needs socks anyway?
Yes, you did have a reputation for having a softer side with children. But how do I put this nicely? You were a bit stubborn and sarcastic with adults, right?
Oh, nine.
Someone call you Grump in your later years.
I suppose I do have to admit to that, yeah. I was a bit of a perfectionist too, and would often destroy finished pieces I deemed unworthy, including some 20 string quartets. I eventually composed four symphonies during my life, but it took me many years before I got up the nerve to try one for the first time. They're written for a large orchestra and usually have 3 to 4 moving parts that are called movements. Complicated, yeah? I was I wasn't afraid of everyone comparing my symphonies to great symphonies of Beethoven, who who died a few years before I was born.
I can totally understand being afraid of being the Beethoven shadow, but music was changing during your time and people were excited for the new feeling you added to your pieces. For example, for over 100 years, children all over the world have been falling asleep to your lullaby, which was originally called Vig- Vingenlied.
Wow! 100 years? Oh, nine. Okay, maybe I don't feel so bad now.
Before you go, tell us about the time you met the great American inventor Thomas Edison.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose the students here might enjoy hearing about that. In 1889, he visited me in Vienna and invited me to perform an early experimental music recording. Yeah, I played a shortened version of me Hungarian dance number one on the piano. It was one of the earliest recordings ever made by a major composer.
That is pretty huge if you ask me. Just so you know, Mr. Brahms, since the time of your death in 1897, people consider your music as some of the most perfect music ever. And your 64 years of life earned you an honor of being known as one of the three B's Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. You should be very proud. Thank you for sharing your life with us today. Audience, let's give Johannes Brahms a round of applause.
Yeah, thank you.